welcome to RamGoatAstrology. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Laura Lee.
And I am Helena.
I got a little bit of a head cold today, so I might be sniffling. Sorry, guys.
But like I said, it's good that it's coming out. That's what you know is leaving.
It is. I'm glad that it's moving, and I just got back from the chiropractors, so I'm feeling in alignment and much better. Me and the baby went, and now he's passed out taking a nap, so thank goodness there. And as soon as we're done, I'm gonna go take a shower and help clear this. So, but today we're gonna talk about progressed moon.
We are.
What in the heck is a progressed moon, Helena? How do we explain that?
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can do this. So, from your birth chart, the chart you have when you're born, um, there's something called the progressed planets. Okay, I'm gonna need your help to explain more about this, but I can tell you that the progressed moon moves 1 degree each month.
Yes, approximately each month. Yep.
Yeah. So you fill in the rest.
So my understanding of it is that it is an emotional maturity time in each specific sign. So when you're born, your moon is in a certain sign. So mine was at 4 degrees Gemini when I was born. And when I was a month old, it would have been progressed moon around 5 degrees and then 6 degrees and so on and so forth each month of my life. And then it would have moved into Taurus. So as I was a little baby, I probably would have been real curious and learning real fast. And then when my progressed moon moved into Taurus, this would have been a more earthy time for me, a more easier going as far as like let's just get along, just give me food and I'll be happy, right? So that is how it develops throughout our chart. And the progressed moon stays in a sign about 2.5 years or 30-ish months, give or take, depending on the months and stuff. But I like to think of this as this opportunity or this area of life for us to experience the themes of that sign. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, for example, a few years ago, last year, October, actually. So it's been a year. I've been in a progressed moon in Sagittarius. But before that, for 2.5 years, I was in a Scorpio progressed moon. That was a real interesting time for me.
Yeah.
I don't particularly remember the first Scorpio progressed moon 30 years ago. But this one was rough. We lost a lot of people and a lot of animals. So there was a lot of that death energy that I had to go through and experience. And it wasn't just physical deaths, there was a lot of emotional deaths of friendships that just parted ways for whatever reason. And so I went through a lot of these really intense and deep transformations. But I also went through births. And that's when I had my 2-year-old Saffron, 2.5-year-old. And so there is these transformations. And it was a time when I transformed into the astrologer that I am now and becoming. So again, these death and rebirth cycles of Scorpio I really felt that intensity during those 2.5 years. And I felt a very strong need to do therapy, a very strong need to do therapy. And it was just this inner desire, this inner calling that, oh my gosh, I really need some help. Now, I didn't do traditional therapy because I don't do anything traditional. But I did sound therapy. I did emotion code. I did sessions with, meditation, Reiki, Akashic Records. I did all kinds of other types of therapy. But for me, that's how my Scorpio progressed moon cycle felt. It was just that time of life. And I remember feeling like I have a jacket on right now. And I remember when I first entered it, I felt like I wanted to just keep hiding myself like inside my sweatshirt or inside my jacket. And like I kept pulling my sweaters tight over my chest and like the world was almost too much. And this was like my physical shield. And I was just hiding like deep in my little hidey hole, right? I was listening to Jessica Lanyadoo the other day and she's talking about a woman who had a lot of cancer energy. And she's like, you have a hidey hole. And I was like, oh, I remember that hidey hole energy, right? I just, I wanted to, to just disappear.
Disappear and look at other people without being looked at.
Yeah. And it was really intense. I have Jupiter in Scorpio, and Jupiter is very much in my fifth and sixth houses. So this was with my children. This was everyday life. Like, this was really intense time for me to experience this progressed moon in my everyday life. And then, of course, with that Jupiter there for a little bit, it got really big. And
Mm.
then about a month or two before it moved into Sagittarius, girl, I felt a lightening up of the energy, like I don't think I can even describe. It just,
Mm.
it felt like someone pulled me out of the depths of the ocean and was like, "Come on, let's go up high now, and let's go up in the clouds, and let's go shoot to the stars." And all of a sudden I was much more optimistic about life, and things were not so bad, and I was more jovial and more expressive. And then I published a book, and then I published another book, and then I had
And
another
then the third.
baby. Yeah, and then I had a baby with a Sagittarius moon, and like very optimistic, like kind of ridiculously so, right? We were trying to buy this cafe, it didn't work out, which is fine, but like very optimistic about the things I can do in my daily hours, very like stupidly
Mm.
optimistic,
Yeah.
really.
So the theme really changes
Really.
when the progressed moon moves into a different sign. But because it's the moon, would you say it's like a maturity progression and process for us? Is that what's happening because it's the moon?
I agree. I think that's a great way to describe it. It's really, and when we read about it, learned about it in school, it was really talked about. This is a time where progressions help us to mature and grow. Really,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Mm.
And so knowing your progressed moon and where it is in the signs, I think is so helpful. So you can know, okay, this is the theme I'm going to be in for the next 2.5 years, or this is the theme my kid is in for the next 2.5 years. My 10-year-old was just in a Taurus progressed moon. And for her solar return last year, she had a Taurus moon as well. And so she was
Okay,
really,
how did her Taurus progressed moon show up? Because I have that right now.
girl, she just, for lack of a better description, she just got stubborn about everything. Like, she just put her heels down, and when she didn't wanna, she didn't wanna. Well, normally she's really flowy and very easygoing with a Libra rising and all kinds of Cancer energy. But man, she hit this Taurus cycle. And it was, I kept scowling and looking at her going, this is more like your brother. Why are you,
Mm.
what's going on here? Right.
Yeah.
And it was a really intense, stubborn, earthy energy for her that was not her typical. And
Mm.
thank goodness she is almost out of it. I can't wait. She's got like another, like 2 or 3 more months. And I can feel her lightening up into this Gemini energy. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that if I think about it, I can sort of feel my Taurus progressed moon right now, but I could really feel my Aries progressed moon.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember telling you at some point when it was just a few months left, I was like, I'm so tired. Please let this be over soon because it was just so. I just started so many projects, like
Yeah.
project after project after project, new, had a few different jobs.
I love
Everything
that
was
you said
new
you
all the
started
time.
them, but you
Yeah.
didn't finish them.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
such an
say finish them.
Aries
No.
thing.
Yeah, I started a lot of things, and then I like when it was a few months left, I was just feeling like, can this please be over soon? Because I'm done with the starting up thing. I need to calm down, and I was
Yeah.
really really looking forward to the Taurus progress mode. And I would say yes, things are slowing down and sort of solidifying.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, because with Aries, I mean, you think about what do I want to do? What what haven't I done for me in a while? And I want to it's a lot of I energy, and I want to go play. And so
Mm.
you mature and have this growth in the things you like. and you want to experience, and maybe you try that and you try that, and life kind of becomes this buffet
Mm.
of sampling, right? I'm going to sample that, and I'm not going to finish that. I don't like that. No, right? That's my life. That's my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, it really does bring some sort of a flavor. I definitely feel like I was more confrontative during my
Yeah, I was going to say
Aries
impatient and
progressive.
prone to arguments during those two
Mm.
and a half years for sure. And I know we
Mm-hmm.
talked a lot about that with you and your partner and all that, like just kind of this "Arr," fight energy. And
Yeah,
you haven't talked much about that lately. It feels like you kind of been ah,
I'm Earth now.
right? Oh. So yeah, that Aries progress moon for sure can be expressing yourself more, being more exaggerated, maybe more loud, right? Just more outspoken
Yeah,
than normal. And again, that's the maturing cycle that you are supposed to be experiencing this
yeah,
so that you
and
can grow and understand it.
yeah, and I feel like it makes so much sense that you know you travel from one sign after the other in the order that they lie, because after starting everything up, you need that downtime and you need that time to solidify things and to go get into the details, which is Taurus as well, and enjoy everything that you started up, like the
And
senses, maybe thinking about like, how do I make this thing pretty that I started up, and thinking about those things.
take that slower, steadier approach
Mm,
to life,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
that's what I noticed with Guinevere. She wanted to just sit and read all the time. She didn't
yeah,
want to do her chores. She asked a lot about food. Food was a big thing. She wanted to just sit and just be on the couch, which is cool. But when you're 9 and 10 and we have babies, you have to do some chores. Like you have to get up and work. And she didn't want to.
no, no. I thought of maybe a good analogy for progress moon in the different signs. So like, let's say that when you're having your progress moon in Aries, you start thinking about that. I'm gonna build myself a home, and you start like you have the idea. It's the start of something, and you might not have money for it. You might not have anything, but you like, I'm gonna start this thing. And you get into Taurus and you start laying the foundation, getting some loans, maybe finding some good timber. I don't know, start building the
I love that.
foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. You get the idea
Yeah,
with Aries and the fire, the initiating, and then Taurus gets into the practical traits of it,
yeah,
the practical
yeah.
application of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you go into Gemini and you start maybe figuring out who the neighbor is and making things pretty in the home, like getting all your books in there and socializing sort of outside the home, doing
Yep.
that thing.
Networking. Networking. Yep.
Networking. Come Cancer, you make that home your home. Like
Oh,
that's when you put in all of your trinkets and the things that makes a home to you, and you make it like super cute and you feel safe in there.
yeah.
And okay,
And
Leo
then you're
season,
going to
what
move
happens
into
then? You have a
Leo,
party, you have a housewarming party.
right? Then you're going to move into Leo and you're going to have fun and you're going to play in your new home and you're going to
Yeah.
enjoy the backyard. You're going to have some barbecues. Now you're going to really
Uh-huh.
be the center, the host, right?
The
The
host, yeah.
MC, the center of attention. More
Yeah.
flamboyant is a great word for Leo. This might be a time when you have a Leo progress moon. This might be a time where suddenly you like Philip's got different stuff, but this is a great example. Somebody who has not been on stage or anything, all of a sudden has an urge to go audition for a musical or a play, right? Like that's not your norm. Like what the heck? Like I'm excited for you, but like, what are you doing, right? So that kind of theme can be showing up when you've got that Leo progress moon for sure. Of course, the flair for the dramatic. You can't forget
Mm.
that. But then we move into your Virgo progressed moon. And this is,
Mm-hmm.
of course, critical, analytical. Maybe you got to do some repairs or some structure, maybe
Mm-hmm.
fix your house up a little
Think
bit.
so. Yeah, it wasn't so nice, that painting hanging over there. I need to put it somewhere else.
Yep. You got to get more organized because now you're in your house and you're getting settled in, but it's not set up quite the way you want it, or it's
You
not.
know what you do in Virgo season? you do the address change thing so that the mail is coming to you if you ever get mail anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But you do all the like the paperwork and
Oh, the irritating stuff.
yeah, you get the loans in order and
Go get your new license.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Like
Do
all
the
of those things.
insurance.
Hmm.
Also, during Virgo moon, health can be a much bigger focus. Maybe suddenly you now get some exercise equipment and you get your exercise room in your house set up, and now you're working out more, doing your yoga more, right? Making your daily habit lifestyle changes
Yeah.
for your health. During a Virgo progress moon is a great time to work on your physical health, your weight or your eating or whatever that is. So um digestive concerns, right? Like the
Mm.
physical body and digestion would all be a theme during that time. And then once we got our license changed and all of our paperwork in, now we can invite in our partner or our spouse or our lover, right? Like now we can sit and relax with our buddy with Libra moon. My husband's in a Libra moon right now, and I have to say I
Mm, that's
love
nice.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Libra
I
is
love it.
such a friendly energy, such an inviting energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot about partnerships with Libra.
Yeah. So giving. I can just feel he's got this like he wants to compromise. He wants to, figure out how we can get along, how we can make stuff work. Also, creativity is a big time for Libra progressed moons. You might get into music. And in fact, he does. He picks up his sister's, who passed away, her guitar. We have that, and he plunks on that almost every day. He really
Mm.
will play around with that for 15, 20 minutes a day, which it's something he's been wanting to do for years. And is
And
just
now is
now
the
during this
time.
Libra progressed moon, finally I'm seeing him do this on the regular. And I'm like, I love it. You're bringing more
Yeah.
harmony and peace into your life and maturing in the areas of life that bring you harmony and peace, right? If that person doesn't bring you harmony and peace, it's gone. If your job isn't working anymore and there's stress that's building up resentment or you're not being valued or respected, you easily could switch a job during Libra progressed moon because respect is very
Mm.
important. Very
Mm.
important.
It's about your values a
Yeah,
lot. You maybe get more on the same note with your values. You remember what your values are.
absolutely. And then we have Scorpio.
What happens with the house in Scorpio season? Didn't think of that. Maybe something
uh,
breaks.
Well, and it is. I mean, this is where there's loss and transformation, and this is where, like,
Aha.
you've got pressure. Maybe there's some pipes that break, right? Because of pressure. Maybe your water pipes freeze and break, and you got to deal with this intense energy that just keeps showing up in various different
Mm.
ways. It can
Mm.
be extremely emotional, and I know that's what
Mm.
happened for me is the deep, extreme emotions of losing a sister-in-law, then losing my dog, and then shortly after that, losing her donkey, and my grandma passed away. Then we had a baby. Then we like it was just boom, bada boom, bada boom, and it wasn't necessarily me, but it was all of the energy around me that I was really going through and experiencing this. So
Mm.
it's something to take note of because I just got out of it, and now hubby will go into it next year.
Yeah.
So we were talking about like what that might look like and
Yeah.
family members and friends and thinking about like who's in our life that's aging, right? And like who we might be saying goodbye to. And of course you can't predict that, but just kind of wrapping our heads around that time frame is definitely going to be
Mm.
coming around the corner for him. And
Mm.
anybody in a progressed moon in water, definitely I recommend some type of therapy. Whether it's Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, I don't care. Go talk to somebody.
Mm.
Anybody.
Yeah.
A best
Yeah.
friend every week. Do a Zoom with a lady in Sweden every week. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, now you you really went through a lot of like physical deaths
Yep.
for people and pets around you, but
It doesn't
um
have to look like
it
that.
doesn't have to be that, but it will definitely be some sort of, death is just like finishing something or like ending something, like endings and new beginnings, I think, Scorpio time, and transforming and like really going deep into also those like like really yummy parts of life that is that we almost don't dare to touch on
Mm,
because it's so yummy. And
right?
so
The
this could be people
subjects,
getting into tantra or,
yeah. Yeah, the
like getting
subjects
really
that
deep
people
within.
people don't really want to talk about, right? The
Mm,
occult or the depths. But yeah, definitely this is where you would really get on top of your sexual health, or making sure that your needs are being met in that realm, or potential for personal growth during that time is huge. And I would say that was really accurate for me those last
yeah,
2.5 years, was just the personal growth I had,
yeah,
the deep, intense
yeah.
maturity.
That's it.
And
That's Scorpio. Yeah.
yeah, and the power, my personal power, right? Finding my personal power to stand in my own energy, be comfortable with how powerful I am and embracing it, right? That was a big
Mm,
thing. Um when I remember looking up Scorpio progressed moon, and I remember a couple articles was like, this is not an easy time. Not gonna lie, it's not easy
mm,
for anybody. It's just not easy time. So knowing if you or your loved one is in a Scorpio progressed moon can help them through it.
yeah.
That doesn't mean you can fix it. Doesn't mean you can really do anything for them except to be there.
Yeah.
Just really be
Mm,
there and remind them that, hey, we go through these transitions in life to really grow and expand. And this is Scorpio. I feel like I'm taking a lot of time on Scorpio, but that's because
mm.
it's such an intense
It
one.
is, but that's why, and also it brings such big rewards. But maybe with the house analogy, I'm thinking maybe you realize that the things the structure you built your house on is rotting, so you need to change the structure of the house, and it's really scary, and it will cost you a lot of money, and it's painful. You don't even know if you're gonna make it, but in the end, when you do it,
Yeah.
you will have a much stronger, better house.
Yeah, maybe you found termite damage. You got
Exactly, termite.
and now you got to go inside and have a contractor come in, and all of a sudden all your money's gone and you feel like
Yeah,
you're losing control of everything. It's power and
exactly.
control is Scorpio. And so when you feel like you're losing that control, finding your own personal conviction and power within you, that's really what a Scorpio progressed moon is about. And you can get very irrational during this time too. So be prepared for that.
Yeah,
But about 3 months before I got out of that, I could feel that. It was like somebody threw me a life raft, and I grabbed that thing and I hung on,
yeah,
and I made it into Sagittarius, which
yeah.
feels so good.
And that's when you put your house on Airbnb and you go travel.
Because you fixed the termite damage, and now
Yes.
you got to pay the contractor for
Yeah,
all the work. So you
yeah,
got to rent that shit
exactly.
out.
Yeah, but
Yes,
you figure it's a great time to travel, so you do it.
absolutely. When I looked up this one the other day, it said going from a progressed moon in Scorpio to Sagittarius feels like a breath of fresh air. I felt
Yeah.
that. It feels like you can breathe again. It's
Mm,
like someone holding you. You know how in movies you'll watch like someone holding someone down to threaten them, and like they put them underwater and then they pull them back like, "Are you going to tell me the answer now?" It's
mm,
that it's
yeah,
that kind of energy. So now you've got freedom. You've got some
yeah.
open spaces now. You've got, like you said, travel, right? Oh, I'm really enjoying it. Although I thought during my Sagittarius progressed moon, I've been in it for a year now, I thought I would be doing a lot more like online classes and stuff, right? Because it's the professor sign. It's very much learning and taking in information, but I'm finding
Lady, you're teaching.
I know, I'm finding that it's the teaching part. It's
Yeah,
I'm being the professor right now. So
yeah.
teaching is a big part of that. So what do you want to teach after you just learned all of your stuff in Scorpio? Now you get to teach people how to prevent termite damage and how to
Exactly.
fix broken pipes and all of the stuff you went through during Scorpio. You get
Yeah.
to use that and help others. Ah,
Mm.
I'm enjoying it. I really am. And then Capricorn. I remember our teacher, Deborah Silverman. Mm, she's been doing this for like 45 or 50 years. Like she's been doing astrology for a long time. And
Incredible. Yeah.
when somebody like that says something that's so profound, my brain caught it and like lodged it in. And she said, "Oh, progressed moon in Capricorn. Oh, good, mountain's coming your way." And I heard her say that to one of the students, and I was like, "Oh, take note. When am I hitting that? Where
Yeah.
what? When is it coming?" Now it doesn't just like fall into your lap. You have to work for it. But typically, this is ambition and
Yes,
drive and like
it is.
I'm gonna climb this corporate ladder, right?
Yeah.
Now because you put your house on Airbnb, maybe you have a desire to do this again and
Exactly.
invest in other real estate.
Yes, this is when you buy more real estate. You're like, this is
I
this
like this
is
analogy we
working
got
out.
going here.
Yeah.
You don't want to turn into it like an overly ambitious person though, because this is a transit, right? This is a 2.5 year transit. So what you take on during this time, you want to be able to finish or at least, see some kind of accomplishment during this time, because once you move into Aquarius, you're probably going to switch ideas entirely.
Yeah. Aquarius is like, it brings that sort of genius vibe, that sort of like uh, thinking of the things that no one ever thunk before, and just
Yes.
like the innovator.
Yeah. 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 So when you're in that Capricorn progressed moon, I feel like you get to be alone for a while, right? Going in your woods, in your cabin in the woods, and you get to just kind of be in the woods while you're buying your real estate and renting out your houses, and you get to kind of think and get into this hardworking energy. But usually it's usually alone. Capricorn
Mm,
progressed moon tends, not always, but it tends to kind of, it's ruled by Saturn, tends to kind of remove things and remove people.
yeah.
So Jade, who we just had on the show, actually is in a Capricorn progressed moon, and she
Oh.
ended up moving across the country to go help some family with some hospice care, and she has now been very much isolated and kind of alone in the Appalachian Mountains. Now she's with her mom and her two children, but it's very isolating for her in her woods in the cabin,
Mm,
and working on her website, working on her business, like working on how to provide for her family in this new way, right? It's very Capricorn energy that she's
yeah.
experiencing right
I'm just
now.
thinking about the mountain goat, like climbing to the top alone and like, steadily, but
Yeah. Yeah.
alone.
But being real
Yeah.
focused on your career and your path, and
Yeah.
possibly ignoring friendships and relationships at that time. So
Yeah.
maybe
Not having too much fun.
if you're in, yeah, oh yeah, no, there's not a lot of fun. If you're in a Capricorn progressed moon, maybe let your friends know, hey, I'll be back in about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
If you need me, you have to come find me because I'm not gonna go looking for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you want to go out, you need to come take me from my cabin and drag me
Yeah.
out kicking and screaming because I'm not gonna want to go. Right?
Yeah.
But if you have really lovely friends in your life, they'll hopefully do that at least once in a while.
Mm.
Right? So then you move into Aquarius. I don't
What
remember.
happens
I'll have
with the
to go back
house?
in time and see when what years I was going through an Aquarius progressed moon. I don't remember, but I bet it was fun.
Mm.
I have
Mine was
Venus.
about 10 years ago,
Was it about 10?
maybe.
Mine was
If
probably
I'm in
a lot
Taurus
bigger.
now, I'm not too good at math,
I
but
know.
around around 10 years ago, I think I just ended a relationship. I think so. It's a
To
lot
be more
about also
independent.
to be more independent. It wasn't my choice though, but
Yeah.
I definitely got more independent
Yep. Yep.
as a
So
result.
you're not gonna do what everyone else is doing. That's for damn sure. If you're in an
Yeah.
Aquarius progressed moon, rebellious nature, all of a sudden you may feel this urge to rebel, but not know why.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't normally do this. What is going on? But I don't want to be with it. I don't want to. Right? Like, there's just
Yeah.
a sudden revolutionary spirit and rebellion, revolting, kind of all of those words really go with Aquarius, and it happens like that real quick.
Mm. Mm.
So you may all of a sudden become interested in astrology. or
Yeah.
very unconventional things. Now you're doing tarot cards. Now you're taking classes, reading the Akashic records, and people in your life are going, "What the heck?"
Yeah. So maybe with the house, I'm thinking that this is like when you decide to make your houses, you start these retreats with like astrology and tarot readings and like really
Community.
out there stuff.
Yeah.
Community,
Bringing in
yeah,
the weirdos, right? Bring all
yeah.
of your woo people
You'll
in.
have festivals on your land.
Yes, exactly. And community for a purpose, right? Community to grow and expand, or community to make a change in maybe an institution, right? Let's say you've got a kid who in your house, right? And you've got a kid who isn't getting their needs met at school because the school system hasn't implemented something for the special needs your child has. You might find other parents who have similar needs, and you might create a community
Mm.
to make a change during this transit, right? Suddenly you're like, I'm going to spearhead this. I'm going to be this leader and do this weird thing to make a change. So this
Yeah,
could be a really great time for you to break some rules
yeah.
or
And I have to say, with when you have a lot of Aquarius energy, or when you go through this, I would say that you probably will feel also bad like on the outside, because when you are spearheading something, it's also lonely, and you feel like the weird one of the bunch.
yeah,
But that's just the pain that comes with being
right?
a genius, I guess, or
Yep.
something.
Yep. And this is not a time where you will want to experience a lot of intimacy. This is very intellectual. This is very out there. It's not really like in your body, right? This is out into the ethers. So your energy, your mind, your all of your lessons are going to be in an outside of you kind of energy, and not necessarily the deep inside of you, such as your water progressed moons like Pisces, right? So we go from Aquarius into Pisces. And
Hmm.
now we start to get sensitive, and all of a sudden we feel things now, like real profound, really feeling in tune with the energies around you where you might not have noticed them before, right?
Hmm.
Real feeling the ethers, feeling the fog rolling in, feeling the barometric pressure change, right? So how would that go with our house
Yeah,
analogy?
so I think that this is the time when you have 5 properties, and you've had festivals on all of them, and now you decide, I'm gonna just sell them all, keep my favorite, and retire there, and just live in solitude and meditate and just enjoy the rest of my life.
And do some healing, do some generational healing, do some
Mm.
karmic,
Maybe you actually don't sell these properties. You actually give them, yeah, you give them to people who or communities who need them.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You're almost in a Pisces progress moon. This could be almost too giving, right? You go, and which is such a stark contrast from Aquarius. Aquarius is giving, and it is very focused on the individual, right? Like I need to be independent within community. And then you go into Pisces, and suddenly you mesh and become one with the community, and you've kind of lost that individualism that you had. Now you're just part of the ether, you're part of everything, and it can
Mm.
feel very jarring and daunting. My 2-year-old is in a Pisces progressed moon right now. She was born with an Aquarius moon, and she moved into Pisces recently, and boy did we see an emotional shift in this girl. She cries at everything.
Mm.
Everything, especially when her mama leaves.
Mm.
When her mama goes, it's just like her heart breaks. And she's
Yeah.
so, mama, I really she says this all the time. I'm really so sad. I'm really
Oh.
so sad.
Oh, that is heartbreaking.
It really is. And even if she's mad, I'm really so mad. Mama, you mad?
Oh,
Are you sad? Like she's trying to figure out emotions.
your emotions,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And she wants to know how you feel. And then she's
Mm.
trying to identify how she feels. It's very interesting watching a toddler in a Pisces progressed moon and knowing
Yeah,
this, right? Knowing this
yeah.
is what she's going through until she's about 4. So she's going to be very influenced by people's energy. And I've noticed this with my mom. Her and my mom have a very good connection. And my mom has been going through some stuff lately where when she's around certain people, she tries to be like a host or this, like she changes, right? She morphs into what the people need her to be, but she's not necessarily being her authentic self.
Yeah.
My toddler can feel that. And she will not go by my mom. She will not hug my mom. She will shy away from her. Like, this is not right. This is not the right energy. I don't know what this
Not
is.
authentic.
Right. But she can feel it. And my
Yeah.
mom's getting real offended. Like, why won't she give me a hug? I was like, because you aren't being you. Because she can
Yeah.
feel it. She can feel you are not being true to what your needs are. She can feel it. I can feel it, but I intellectually understand it. She's 2, so she just knows that her grandma is not okay, right? Oma's not all right. So I thought that was really interesting. I just witnessed that 2 times in the last month.
Yeah.
And I went,
I loved,
huh.
yeah. What you said about Pisces, you sort of dissolve, you're one with all. That really, really explains Pisces, I think. And to compare it with, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, Aries is the first, when you're just one little particle and you're just like an individual and you're new in this thing and you're thinking about yourself all the time, the little baby. And then you go to just being one with all. And this is also because then it's not like it ends here. If you have a progressed moon here, it ends something, it keeps, and then it goes into Aries.
Now you
And
sense, yep.
yeah, and I think also what happens in Pisces is that you let go of things. It's the dissolving, but it's also such a dreamy sign. This is where that idea of the house that you got in Aries a few months before that, when you were in Pisces, this is when you started dreaming about it. This is when it started forming in
Yeah.
your subconscious.
Yes.
And then come Aries, and that's when you had the idea and you started putting it into the physical world and you
Into
started
action.
speaking it. Yeah,
Yeah,
into
maybe in a
action.
Pisces progressed moon, maybe you were drawing up your house. Maybe you were, going on Pinterest and creating a Pinterest
Mm,
board. Maybe you were,
yeah.
but you were in that creative space, the creative flow. And
But
then
I think
Aries,
even before that, I think that maybe in Pisces, you don't even know that you want this house. I think it's so under the surface, it's just forming and you're just having these feelings and you like don't know what it is. And
yeah,
then Aries, like, it has a shape. It's like, a
yeah.
house.
I love that. Yeah, you might be just sitting down to paint and suddenly you're painting the house and you didn't even consciously mean to paint that.
Mm,
Oh, I love that. Something to take note of that I personally have experienced and would really, really recommend for everybody is with Pisces, anything, you have to be very careful about toxicity and poisoning and making sure you are not checking out with drugs and alcohol. Pisces can very much do that. All water signs, but especially Pisces. And sometimes we can feel so much that we don't want to. So we try to numb it or we try to, change it, however. And that's where we turn to substances or numbing through television or whatever, social media. So being really careful during that 2-year transit that you're working on self care, energetic self care. What does your energetic hygiene look like? Do you do,
mm,
essential oils and take deep breaths and say mantras? Or do you go, make yourself a whiskey and check out on Facebook? Right? Like, what are you doing? So being
mm.
really mindful during that 2.5-year transit to not numb things away. I think
Yeah,
that's a big
yeah,
thing.
I think so.
Taking note.
And yeah, I want to add some things to Gemini and Cancer because I feel like we sort of skipped through that pretty quickly. Um, in Cancer, for example, it's a lot about also that parenting vibe. It's very, I feel like a very common thing would be that you have a grandchild or you have a child, or it's
Or you
very
get a
much that,
dog. Yeah,
or
something
you
you
get
want
a
to
dog.
parent. You want to parent something.
Momming.
Yep.
You want to parent something. And with Gemini, I would say learning, learning, learning. You're like super curious on everything. You just want to learn and jump from thing to thing. You're like, life is so interesting, you know.
Yes. And when you get from Taurus into Gemini, realize that Taurus is real slow and Gemini's really not.
Yeah.
And so all of the sudden, it's almost like the wind picks up and grabs that bull and just flings them into the sky, right? And like a tornado can, right? So being really aware of that shift, and that you might have problems making decisions during Gemini progressed moon. Well, I think this, but I also think that. Well, right? Back and forth, back and forth. So that where maybe a time where you turn to friends or support partners to help you make decisions. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Progressed moons are fascinating. I find them absolutely intriguing. And when you go back in time and you look at where your progressed moon was, even like conceiving children, right? There is very much a connection. I promise you, there's a connection. Little magic baby snuck in during a progressed moon of me and my husband, where like the timing aligned. We weren't looking for it, but when I went back and looked at it, I went, "Oh shit, there it is." Right? Hubby had a Virgo progressed moon, but it happened to be in the end of the 5th house, and I had XY, it worked out so
Yeah.
perfectly. And I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Yes. So what we didn't talk about also is that layer of houses too, but that we
Yep.
can talk about another
Yeah,
time.
we'll do that one another one.
Yeah. And if you want to
Fascinating.
find where your progressed moon is, I suggest that you go to astro.com, and then in there under extended horoscope or something, you can choose progressed
Yeah.
moon chart.
Yep. And if you'd like to have a reading with us, we would certainly love to help you do a reading independently off the show, or even if you want to be on the show, we can dive into your progressed moon and help you understand the energy time you are in. And when your progressed moon goes over a natal planet, it does have an effect. There is definitely an effect. In fact, when I published my book, my first book, my natal or my progressed moon went over the top of Uranus. So it was sudden chaos and change,
Wow.
and like bam, you're now an author. Bam, here it is. Like just this launching into this new career field for me of becoming an author. And since then I've been
Mm.
writing a lot. So I find that to be really interesting too, of the timing of things with hitting your natal chart stuff too. So it's a fun thing to take note of. It's another layer of astrology that's just helpful information, helpful for you to recognize. You have to flow with what your chart is asking of you, and what the energetic, growth and maturity of your chart is saying it's time for this now. You can fight it if you want. We don't recommend it.
It will tire you out.
It will tire you out. It will tire you out. But it certainly does help your intellectual earth school brain to know,
Mm.
oh, I'm coming up on a Scorpio progressed moon in a couple months. Maybe I should just start looking for a therapist or somebody I can talk to, or maybe just kind of get ready to settle into the depths of the pressure and in the intensity, and maybe do my self-care routines a little better, right? Or if you're an Aquarius, like what kinds of new rebellious things might you be experiencing, or what's your cause that you're going to put your energy into? Those are things to think about ahead of time. I am so intrigued with all of it. Every time I learn more about astrology, I'm like, "Oh, so good. So good." So this is all we really wanted to chat about today. You're going to do a shorter show today. We usually
That
go a
went
little bit
well.
longer, right? Right? We usually go a little bit longer, but we're going to keep it a little shorter today. So thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in. And if you want to be on the show or get a reading from us, you know where to find us. All our information is in the show notes, and we'd love to work with you.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody.
See you next
Enjoy
time.
your progressed moon. We'll talk to you
Bye.
later. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Ram and Goat Astrology. You can support the show by buying us a coffee or a tea. Link in the show notes. Your financial support means the world to us. Join us next time.